Well, hello, everybody, and this is Radio Entrepreneurs. My name is Jeffrey Davis, and we are streaming every day stories about the new economy and how people are working and going back to work and positioning themselves in light of the circumstances of the way everything is going right now. I'm pretty excited to introduce a new segment on Radio Entrepreneurs, Working Smart in the New Economy, featuring Aviva Sapers, CEO of Sapers and Wallack, and Lisa Cukier, partner at Burns and Levinson. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
I assume that all three of us are working from home. I know it's an adjustment for everybody. Kids, summers, kids at home. It's a little bit different without school now. It's a second wave potentially. I was wondering what your thoughts were about, how to deal with some of these things and helping people deal with some of these things. And I know I'm opening up in a little general sense to start. So, just thought I'd ask you some of your thoughts on these issues.
Lisa, you want to go first?
Sure, I'm happy to start. I think the key operative word here is to start slow and to not rush into things. I think we've just been figuring out how to work from home and how to do it successfully. One of the things that we've learned, and I've learned in my practice, is that there are actually some cost savings to my clients in my working at home. So for example, although the courts are closed right now, I've been able to have telephonic and Zoom enabled court appearances, and I'm spending all of 15 minutes in court. It used to be an hour to drive there, and I billed for it, an hour to drive back. I'd be sitting in the courthouse waiting for an hour or two to be heard. And by the end of the day, it was a 4.5-hour court appearance for 15 minutes in front of the judge. Now my clients are paying for just those 15 minutes. So we found new ways to use technology to make our jobs work for our clients and to make it more affordable, streamlined, and efficient. And so we have less need for assistance in human form. We are now using technological form to have the assistance that we need. And so there's been a cost savings to the client in that. And so in terms of going back to work while we're thinking about a potential second spike in the virus and what that all means, and as it's a slow return to an uncertain economy, I would caution that everybody should use what has been working well, continue that, and to move slowly going back to the offices.
I'm sorry, Aviva, did you want to add to that?
I would say for me, the thing that I've noticed working from home is you got to be lucky enough to have a big enough house. Those of us that are working from home need some quiet and space. And then if you have a spouse who's also working, they need a little spot to get quiet and to be able to plug in. And then if you have kids, you got to keep them from making a lot of noise in the background, and or if they're on their own video calls, they need a place to hibernate. So if you don't have all the space, I think you do resort to things like headsets and other technology to help you get through it. Or I've heard people sitting out in their cars in their driveway, going to a Starbucks. There's all sorts of things people are getting creative for.
I've seen a few of those things. You say the Starbucks. I mentioned last week to someone, I saw someone doing their meetings in a car. I had talked to the two of you about it. It was reminding me of Get Smart with the Dome of Silence, where they had to run out of their house. And, it used to be that it was easy that you could go to your office. I assume both of you, I've seen both of your offices, I think, and you could shut your door. And now it's hard with family around, creating privacy for business meetings. And that can be an issue. The other thing is that you said going to court, if someone's getting divorced, I'm wondering about assets and if the value of assets and valuing of assets have changed dramatically in this economy. And then I think about insurance with Aviva, because, one of you does insurance and one of you does family law. So that opens up a couple of topics for me as well.
Would you like me to start on the divorce aspect and the valuation of assets?
Definitely.
The world turned upside down on March 13. I will never forget. It was a Friday and everybody was wondering if they needed to go to the grocery store quickly to stock up because it looked like we were going to spend a week at home. And boy, I'll tell you, everything changed. I handle a lot of divorces where there are significant business assets, and the business valuations have changed dramatically Real estate, not so much quite yet, but it's coming, I think. But with businesses, you might have had operative businesses in a family where the spouses are either working together or one spouse is working at the business, and doors shut down on the 13th of March and they didn't reopen, and it was longer than a week. It turned into 3 months and they're still not fully open. Restaurants shut down. Think of all the restaurant owners out there. Valuing a restaurant now is a whole different game than it was when you valued it on March 12 or before then. The same thing in every entertainment industry. So entertainment industry type businesses took a crushing blow. And hospitality, crushing blow. But there's other businesses that have thrived, delivery businesses, food shopping, all kinds of, shopper services, people who run errands, that is thriving. So the valuations of businesses now and since March 13 has been a completely different situation. But we're able to get valuators in there. They can go in when nobody else is around. They can go in overnight. So it's possible to get business valuators right into the business. We can certainly transmit books, business books. That's not a problem. That can be done with technology anyway. So we're still doing business valuations. We're still moving forward with divorces.
One of the things, though, that I guess is the good and the bad is if you're trying to do estate planning and give things away, it's a great time to get a really low valuation because of this break time. On the other hand, if you're in a buy-sell situation, you might not get what the company's really worth because of the fact that they're taking a hiatus from doing the business, or because customers have stopped ordering temporarily because they don't need what you're selling and things like that. From an insurance perspective, the biggest question that came up through COVID was whether or not people could claim on their business interruption insurance. And from that standpoint, most of them cannot. Unfortunately, pandemics are sort of excluded from those types of policies. But in terms of planning, I know people are busy going, now that they're home so much, getting their houses in order, physically, getting rid of stuff, that type of thing. But it's a great time to take a look at your financial house and your own picture of what you have, what you don't have, making sure you've named proper beneficiaries, because sometimes you've got kids and grandkids that have been born since that time. Or as we said earlier, the two things that may come out of the pandemic are divorces or babies, both of which require planning from an estate planning standpoint, and oftentimes needing some insurance to cover potential losses, a replacement of income, estate liquidity, etc.
Well, I mean, I do think things are more complicated because we have a less solid foundation that we're all on. And so everything is changing. And we could potentially have a new transition of government by the end of the year, which could change things again in terms of looking at valuations and transfers of assets, which I'm sure both of you are always concerned with when they're dealing with entrepreneurs.
Yeah, where we're at from a tax perspective right now has been pretty steady for a bit and incredibly generous. But if we're going into $1 trillion worth of debt as a country, almost regardless of who eventually wins an election, at some point we're going to have to come back and pay for some of this. And that will be likely resulting in a lowering of the estate tax exemptions or an increasing in income tax, both of which make this a very opportune time to do some planning.
Right. We've been speaking with Aviva Sapers, CEO at Sapers and Wallack, and Lisa Cukier, partner at Burns and Levinson. Again, this is a regular segment. We're going to be doing Working Smart in the New Economy. Plus, you're going to be doing some podcasts discussing some of these things. If anyone was looking for either of you or both of you, how would they find you? Lisa?
Who first? Thank you. So I can be found at Burns and Levinson. It's a law firm with offices in Boston, Wellesley, Hingham, Andover, and Providence, Rhode Island. My phone is 617-345-3471. And my email address is lcukier@burnslev.com. And that is spelled LCUKIER@BURNSLEV.com.
Wow, that's thorough. Aviva, can you beat that?
Absolutely not. Uh, we're Sapers and Wallack. We're located in Newton Corner, although now from everyone's home, and for the most part. And my phone number is 617-715-0125. And the email, if you need me, is asapers@sapers-wallack.com, WALLACK, as shown by the logo behind me.
And we can also find both of you on your corporate websites. I know Aviva also, Sapers and Wallack daily posts in this economy. I want to thank you both for being on Radio Entrepreneurs. My name again is Jeffrey Davis. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more stories.